Hi again, Engineering 1210. Once again, I'm carrying on with more horrible detail in SolidWorks in your first year Engineering 1210 course. Now, where we left off, I added a screw and a screw hole to the birdhouse design, showing you the use of the library of parts that you can use in your designs, and also showing you how to orient and mate some of the parts so that they actually represent and fit in to your model the way that they actually will. Now, when I did that, recall that I used an editing function within the assembly that essentially just opened up a part file, and on its own I edited the part file. Well, I want to show you in this video, hopefully more quickly than the last one, a different way to edit, where we'll edit the part we want to modify within context of the assembly. So let me show you what that's about. Here we are back in the part file. I'm just going to turn this guy back to being transparent. There, so you can see that I've got this base plate. Now I put the screw in the last video through a hole that I drilled in this part. But the thing about it was, if I'm just going to hide that screw for a moment, there, the screw's still there, it's just hidden. I've got this hole that I drilled into the side part, but there's no hole in this part. So I could just say, don't worry about it. After I assemble it, I'll just drill a hole. But you know, this is a pretty powerful CAD tool, and you can actually do a lot more than that. You can think through all of the details that you need prior to assembly. So let's get started with that. The way I'm going to do it is I'm going to select this bottom piece, which is this one, and I'm going to not edit it by opening the part in a separate part environment. I'm going to edit the part directly within the assembly. So that's that tool. Now you'll see when I click that, first of all, confusing, because this is one of the confusing SolidWorks things, is that it looks exactly the same as it just did before I clicked that. Only difference is that my part 3 is now blue in the feature tree, or the assembly tree, and up in the right hand corner I've got that symbol up here. I'm just going to roll this guy back. And that symbol is what, it's hard to see, will tell me, oh wait, I'm editing a part, but I'm doing it within the context of an assembly. The other thing that's confusing and thing is, you look up and you go, suppose you were trying to work in the assembly and place new parts, you go, but there's all these different tools up here. What's going on? What? Well, it's because we're still within the assembly, but we're doing part editing of that file as if we were working on editing the part. So it's useful, but it's a little bit not obvious. So what I want to do is I want to use and the reason I can't select those holes is because in this view, because I've made that guy transparent, it misses picking those holes. I'm just going to use a different display option there. You'll notice that that's one of the weird, quirky features. So now I could take this hole and I could use this as the guide to drill a hole in this part. Keep in mind, I am only editing part 3 right now, that none of the things I will do will affect the other parts. So I can do either an extruded boss, or I could even go and do, I could do an extruded cut, or I could even do the hole wizard like we did in a previous video. Which will it be? Oh, let's just do the extruded cut. I can do an extruded cut. I'm going to pick a plane. I'm going to pick that plane, not because I want to cut it down here. I want to cut it on in the hole, but because that just gives me an orientation. And then I'm going to convert entities of that. So now you'll see that in black here, in the sketch in which I'm working, I've got this black hole. Now, the thing is, because this is going to be a drilled hole in my part that I then want to put a screw in, I made this hole a 3mm hole, which is quite a bit of clearance for a 2mm screw. Did that on purpose. So I actually don't want to use that circle directly. I want to click over here when I select the circle for construction. Now, admittedly, there's simpler ways I could do this, but this is a way I'm going to show you. So now I've drawn that for construction. I'm going to click to draw a circle. I'm going to draw a circle. There we have it. I'm going to give it a dimension. I'm going to make this, I want to use a 1/8 inch drill bit because I'm going to drill into wood in the wood shop, and I know I've got a 1/8 inch drill. And we'll see how that works. And oh, that's wrong. 1/8 is too big, so much for my metric. I think I'll use a 1/16 inch. Now we're talking. So I'm just going to use one of the drill bits that are in the workshop, 1/16 inch. I know I'm going to use a metric screw, but this will still be a good pilot hole. And then, just click positive to that. I'm going to select that circle I just drew. I'm going to select this circle, Control, select that. I'm going to make them concentric. There. Now I know it's going to be a 10mm screw that I'm putting in from this face, so I'm going to drill this hole, not 10mm, I'm going to give it a little bit more. I'll make it 13mm. There. And of course, you'd want to go around and do the same thing for all the other holes. But for now, if I go over here and remember, I'm still editing this part, part number 3, even though I'm still looking like I'm in the assembly, I'm only editing that part. If I click this button here, now I'm back in the part environment. It tells me to rebuild, so I'll rebuild. And there. So now you'll see that I've got the part environment such that I've actually taken the geometry from my ugly birdhouse frame, and I've used that geometry to make a modification to the next part. So that's another way, and it's really valuable in all of your assemblies to do that. It helps you create complicated objects that will then fit together. So that's enough for now. Thanks for watching, and look forward to carrying on with some more stuff. But for the purpose of this tutorial, we're pretty much done. You can carry on. You can make some more holes. You can put in screws more properly. Whatever you like. It's your birdhouse after all. So thanks for watching. See you in the next tutorial.